Now, whose America is this? The people in power who act like it's theirs to give away to the highest bidders, Wall Street, big tech, the big donors, because they want a certain set of policies, and they usually get their way. Sucking up to China.
I don't want to contain China. I just want to make sure we have a relationship with China that is on the up and up, squared away.
Funneling tens of billions to Ukraine.
We are always preparing a new military package for Ukraine. As you know, we do these presidential drawdown packages essentially every couple of weeks.
Millions of illegal immigrants streaming across the border.
We have responded with a model approach that has proven to work.
Now, we all know that these policies are ravaging America. But Democrat policymakers, so far, haven't cared. It's their America to shape and to control, and frankly, to give away. It's not yours to defend and enjoy. But things on the surface, at least, may be changing. Now, last night, we told you that Democrats had begun serious conversations about whether a Biden-Harris ticket is really their best shot at this point for keeping power. A well-respected liberal columnist for the Washington Post wrote what many Democrats are privately thinking, that Biden must step aside for the good of his party. And tonight, we sense the winds may be shifting on the policy front as well. The warning again delivered via a Washington Post column written by another prominent globalist, Fareed Zakaria. Biden's efforts have amounted to Band-Aids on a massive open wound, he says, about immigration. The president must use the power he has to stop asylum seekers while the system tries to process the millions of cases outstanding. Wow. Now, that's coming from Fareed Zakaria, and that is huge. Now, his words when I was reading this sounded like they were ripped out of an old Angle from 2021 when I was warning that an open border would break America and break the Biden administration. He said the migrant crisis is exposing Democratic policy weakness at every level. An administration that is scared to take on its progressive wing, right to shelter rules that are utterly unworkable in New York and Massachusetts. Now, that is quite the about face from a columnist and CNN host who, just a month ago or so, declared that there was no border crisis because the Biden administration's border plan worked. So in 1 month, Zakaria went from no crisis to we must change course? So what the heck happened? By the way, back in 2018, Zakaria was dabbling in the usual liberal invective when he examined the motivation of all of us border hawks.
Some of this might be rooted in racism, but it also represents a kind of heightened nationalism, a more emotional conception of the nation. And immigration has become a proxy for that gut feeling. The sense that the country must be able to define itself, choose whom it will allow to come in, and privilege its own citizens over foreigners.
Of course, racism isn't what's at play here, but he got that last part right. And I'd go further. We believe America's future should be determined by its own citizenry, not by a cadre of elites who want both cheap labor and to permanently change our electorate by turning our nation into what Teddy Roosevelt warned would become what? A polyglot boarding house if borders were not controlled. Of course, far-left politicians like AOC, well, they just want to streamline this never-ending illegal population coming into the country. She spoke today, but they weren't all adoring fans in the audience.
Allow for work authorizations so that the folks in here can get to work and start supporting themselves as soon as possible. The faster that folks can access the work that they're asking for legally, the better we can solve this problem.
How does she like them apples? And Jerry Nadler got an earful as well.
We welcome immigrants here, and our city is a testament to the many immigrant communities that have shaped our past and are propelling us into the future.
That's New York, my friends. Now, these Democrats care more about the border crashers sucking up city and state resources than they care about American citizens and legal immigrants struggling to pay their own bills.
American dream will not be bullied into submission today. We will continue to fight for the American dream. We will not be bullied. We will not be pushed into a corner.
Now, wait. Bullied and pushed into a corner is exactly how the American people feel over the border issue.
They're going to keep coming here. If if the entire world knows that they're giving everything for free in Queens and in Manhattan, there's going to be a line from here all the way to South America. It's never going to end. We need to close the border. We can't afford this. Our city is going to go bankrupt. How are we supposed to raise families here? And they're calling us racist. They're calling us white supremacists.
Americans see what's happening here, and many now feel like they're second-class citizens in their own country, like we're strangers in a foreign land here. No American in his right mind supports what's happening now. Just this week, in one day, 9,100 migrants crossed the border in Arizona, 7,400 of them illegally, and those are the ones we know about. That's it. There are others who got away. Sources told Fox that agents apprehended over 7,400 illegal immigrants at the border on Tuesday. When combined with the encounters at the ports of entry, that number hit 9,100. Now, no wonder the issue of immigration has become such a problem now for Biden, because in the most recent CBS YouGov poll, a whopping 2/3 disapproved of his handling of immigration. Only 34% approved. Among Republicans, 91% disapproved. 74% of independents disapproved, but out-of-touch Democrats, somehow 66% of them think scenes like this are just fine. Yeah, looking good. Those numbers are worse than they appear, by the way, because as I intimated at the outset, Republicans' opinions on Biden's handling of immigration broke down along partisan lines, which brings us back to Zakaria. He's smart enough to see that this situation isn't sustainable. He's not a dummy. It's not sustainable politically or practically. And the Angle believes that the White House may be considering a move to at least have the appearance of tightening things at the border. Now, just so you understand this is not because somehow Joe Biden, who doesn't think about anything, or any of the people, puppeteers controlling Biden, have some policy epiphany on the issue, but because it's become a huge political liability to them in both the presidential race, but I think it's becoming a liability down ballot as well. But the fact is, the damage that this open border has already done to America, it's incalculable. Democrats who don't listen to Zakaria and don't reverse their stance on this should never be allowed near a position of power again. And that's the Angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.